What up, YouTube? Timmy's here. Since I'm doing my reviews for past Oscar-winning films, here's my review for the 1930 film All Quiet on the Western Front. Now, this movie is actually based on a book. Uh, it premiered back in 1930, and of course was the third film to win Best Picture at the Oscars. Now, this is actually a World War One movie, and it follows a group of German schoolboys who talked into enlisting at the beginning of World War One by their teacher here, and the story is told through the experiences of the young German recruits, and highlights the tragedy of war during the eyes of the individuals and all. I mean, obviously, World War II did not happen until like the 40s and all. So mostly from then until like the 40s, they mostly done movies about World War One, which, like I said, there's not really a lot of movies about World War One. There is of course, recently just had 1917. Uh, the silent classic Wings is a bit of a World War One movie. We don't really have a whole lot of them nowadays. We got like more World War II films than World War One. But this movie is a really good one. It is, of course, like I said, based on a book. It was directed by Lewis Milestone, who's a pretty decent, iconic director. It is also led by the likes of Lou Ayres. You also had Lewis Woham, John Ray was in this, Arnold Lucy. Not a lot of big time actors or anything, but the movie is pretty intense. It's, of course, a classic black and white film. It scored a couple of Oscar wins, including Best Picture. Let me put up how many Oscars it won. Let me see. Oscars. Yeah, of course, won Best Picture. Lewis Milestone won Best Director. It got nominated for Best Cinematography, Best Adapted Screenplay, and of course, Best Cinematography. Well deserved. The cinematography was terrific. The direction was really decent. It was released by Universal at the time. Like I said, this movie was actually the third film to win Best Picture at the Oscars. It's there was actually like a remake back in around late 1970s, which was actually a little better than the 1930 Oscar-winning film. And there was actually talk about doing another one. I think either a TV like a limited series or maybe a remake film, if I'm not mistaken. But the original is really iconic. It's definitely one of the best World War One movies there is. It shows how intense World War One was. I mean, could you imagine what it was like to experience what was in World War One? This movie definitely shows that. It had some really intriguing, intense characters. I mean, I guess say this was like 1917 of that era. This definitely felt like the recent 1917 film. But yeah, if you guys have never really seen All Quiet on the Western Front, definitely give it a go. Not really sure we can find it nowadays. You can only find it on Fandango now. You can't really find many of the old classic 30s films nowadays. But let me leave you guys. Have you ever seen the 1930 Oscar-winning film All Quiet on the Western Front? What were your thoughts of it? Were you a fan of it? Were you not a fan of it? Drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for more notifications. This is Simmy Sign.